Good morning, everyone. Thanks to all the participants and all the people who are actually listening to us joining on time with us. Welcome to TeamLease webinar. This is one of our flagship digital event wherein we invite the industry experts, pick up a common HR topic and discuss and gain insights from it. Now, today we have come up with a very interesting topic, the great workforce shift, balancing retention and productivity. Before I actually explain about the topic and get on to it, to have this topic discussed, we have Ms. Kavita Nigam from Karam, we have Mr. Ruchir Kare from Airtel, we have Mr. Urfi Kazmi from Varun Beverages, Mr. Debarga Dev from DS Group with us. So maybe instead of me giving an introduction about them, it'll be good if we can actually have a self-introduction from them and we get to know more about them. Then we'll get on to the topic. Ms. Kavita.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be joining this particular webinar. I'm a CHRO for Karam Safety. Karam is a leading brand in India and across the globe. We manufacture and supply industrial safety equipment of the highest quality. So, making life-saving products. And from manufacturing setup that was established about 28 years ago when Make in India was not it was not the fad. So to have those kind of people motivated to be able to, work towards the best in quality and, supply not just to the workforce in India, but make a footprint across the globe. That has been a wonderful challenge and a beautiful journey for me. So I'm really happy to be joining this particular webinar and share all my experiences that I have gained all the way. Thank you, Subbu.
Thanks for accepting our invite, Kavita. Thank you so much. Mr. Urfi.
Yeah, very good morning. And thank you so much, TeamLease team, for giving me an opportunity to interact with these HR professionals. And as Subbu already introduced myself as a HR professional from Varun Beverages. I'm sure you people are aware what Varun Beverages is into. We are into the manufacturing of all the beverages for the Pepsi Pan India and Nepal, Sri Lanka, as well as South Africa. So thank you so much. And I hope that this session will be very, very interactive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Urfi. Mr. Ruchir.
Yeah, thank you, Subbu, for this and conducting this webinar. I think it's a very important one. My name is Ruchir, and I head the extended workforce management for Bharti Airtel. Airtel, as all of you know, it's a digital communication company. We are no more a telco. It's more of providing digital solutions to the customers spread across in India and in Africa. And that's how we are placed. In terms of market cap, we recently got amongst the top 3 organizations in India, and hence we are trying to deliver more and more in terms of impact with respect to the product and the services that we are providing to the customers. Thank you, and excited to be a part of this conversation today.
Thank you so much, Ruchir. Mr. Debarga.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all. Good morning to my fellow panelists, and good morning to the audience. It's a great opportunity to be a part of this endeavor from TeamLease. The topic is very relevant to current day and situation, and we have an expert group of people. Myself, Dev, I have been a part of HR industry since almost now 22 years, having a landscape of multiple organizations from banking and finance to insurance, HSBC, Bharti, then FMCG, Dabur, and now in DS. So I will bring on those experiences to the table while talking on the topic, and I would definitely like to learn and engage from my fellow panelists on the relevant areas. Thank you, Subbu, for bringing us together.
Thank you so much. Thanks to all 4 of you for joining us today. I'm sure it is going to be an exciting and enriching discussion for all of us and also for all the listeners. Okay, now let's get on to the topic. So the great workforce shift. Couple of decades back, when it is a job, it means a loyalty. The loyalty was the word, associated to the work that was actually there. Our parents were actually working on for about couple of decades in the same organization, and it continued, or maybe somebody joined and retired in the same organization. Now the workforce is actually shifting because the way how we are as we are evolving, everything is actually changing. we got Gen Z already into the workforce now. The millions are already stepping into it. And there are a lot of things which are actually changing. The prioritization is actually changed. In fact, India is one of the youngest workforce country. So the median age of our country is what, 29 years? So now look at the developed countries. If I take, say, Japan, it's the median age is 49. You can imagine. So then it means the 50% of the population is 49 and above, 50% of 49 below. In India, the median age is 29. So look at the way the workforce is actually getting in. And for sure, the next 2 to 3 decades belongs to India. So now, given the scenario and with the new workforce is actually entering into the work field, we are finding a lot of, or maybe the observations are actually very completely different. Recently, one of the freshers job portal, they actually flashed stating that 80% of the newcomers, when I say newcomers, this belongs to the Gen Z and the millennials aspect of it, they prefer purpose over the paycheck. Okay. So they want meaning into them for their career. They want mentorship into their career. They want, so which at one point of time for all of us, or maybe a decade before, we have to force somebody to actually get onto it. But whereas this particular generation is getting onto a different mode altogether. Now, when this kind of a workforce is coming in, maybe my first question is to Kavita to check. Are you observing this in manufacturing industry? Because manufacturing, it's a typically known for, oh yeah, before me actually you answering it, I'll just actually give one specific example. I met one of the professor in an engineering organization. He said that people are actually not preferring civil and mechanical. Primarily because they visualize and imagine, okay, they're actually going to get into a white collar job and they want their purpose. They feel that, okay, their purpose can be achieved over there. Now, coming from the manufacturing industry, Kavita, are you observing this trend? What are your takes on this?
Yeah, thanks for this question, Subbu. So if I tell you about the industry that I work in, so we are manufacturing life-saving products. You know, it's an industry where every component of that life-saving product we are manufacturing. So it's a vertically backward integrated. I do understand that when somebody joins, his focus is on basically that particular operation that he needs to work on. But what we have started to do is, and we've been doing it for quite some time, our induction process in the next 3 months of his joining focuses on the bigger picture of what this product actually is going to be doing. So, as you rightly said, there has to be a purpose attached to everything that you are, building. What is it that is, going to make an impact? So, if I talk about a simple product in our line, say a full body harness, so it's like a belt which is worn by a worker who's working at a height. So it has two major components. There is the webbing component, the textile component, and then there is the metallic component. So all these components are manufactured by our own people, but they don't know exactly what happens in the end. So to bring that purpose together, that is our, that has been our endeavor right from day one. So when there is the Gen Z also which is joining, we have to talk a little more about not just the business purpose, but also a little more about the mission of our organization, which speaks about saving millions of lives, globally. We also like to involve them in our the corporate social responsibility activities as well. So you are right. People are coming with more thought on purpose. So it's not really about the paycheck. The youngsters really want to make an impact, and thankfully, the product line that I am in, we are able to do that, and there is a fair amount of retention that we can achieve out of voicing our purpose to them. So this is something that is ongoing, and I believe it really does impact pretty much a lot of people. Yeah.
Oh, that was a great acknowledgement. It's encouraging to see that, okay, even in the manufacturing industry, the people who join at specific portion of the part, what they have to pay, they get to know the final purpose and the way how it's great to have that, Kavita. Thanks for sharing that. I just have a similar kind of a question, but contrasting to manufacturing industry, I actually want to shift the focus to Ruchir. In a telecom environment, there the young audience or the young potential candidates, they join in bulk. So, for example, I know Richard handles multiples of 10,000s of people, and the young workforce which come in the retail showrooms or in the engineering side, on the installation side, etc. So, Richard, do you also observe that in that particular mode? Because this is one industry, at least in manufacturing, you have some kind of an attrition control over there. The values are actually being derived. But the word, just because when I use the word attrition, I know you are able to smile on that. Do you find that, okay, here also as well, the purpose is actually taking over against the paychecks?
Yeah, I think so. To answer this question, I think telecom is no more about connectivity. It's about consistency today, and reliability is a new currency as we speak in telecom. Customer will not appraise you for the 4 lines of network that is coming, but the customer may always come back and say, my one network is down, and hence I have been switched from 5G to 4G, etc., etc. And hence, as a telecom industry, we need to be on the toes to deliver for our customers. Now, when I say customers, obviously the certain ways of working needs to get changed internally for us as well. And as we see industries today, with this influx of Gen Z and the millennials that are coming into the picture, I think organizations, including Airtel, are now redefining our employee value propositions overall. I think gone are those days where the EVPs are made with respect to the compensation and role, rather than it has now shifted to more towards growth, learning, careers, and outcome kind of opportunities. And as we speak with this kind of ways of working, we are now shifting our gears to say what more we should do to move into this EVP kind of new value proposition for this workforce as well. To give you an example, while attrition continues to be one of the major lever for us, there are ways and means that we are trying to put in into the picture with respect to the systematic and process solve to curb and reduce it, as small as putting a career academy and an overall workforce shifting from off-roll to on-roll, and can give them a large careers from this kind of fleet, which is on the toes, on my stores, etc., and can actually come back and contribute for the organization at a larger space and impact. I think that's the shift. The other piece of thing which I see is while EVP in place and in Airtel, we have recently, couple of years back, we have revamped the entire model wherein we are talking about more from limitless aspect to say if people are ready to take limitless ownership within the organization, there are ample opportunities to create limitless impact and the limitless career that they can go through. We have multiple examples where people at a very young age are managing and leading very large businesses for us. As we speak, we have more than around 17, 18 line of businesses spread across telco and digital solutions. And hence, there are people from this kind of workforce who have even started from extended workforce and are now leading some big businesses as a zonal business managers internally, carrying over a 500 crores revenue kind of businesses and leading fantabulously. So I think to answer your question, Subbu, maybe I can say that we are reinventing and redesigning the ways of working with this new generation, which is fully shifted from purpose-led, from the earlier compensation-led to now fully to a purpose-led approach.
I really like the word limitless career, limitless aspiration. It's fantastic, Ruchir, because I think when the moment when you give this actually kind of a terminology to a person who is joining new, I think the person automatically gets motivated. Okay, yeah, I have a great career path, because this is one of the thing which actually is actually a challenge. In fact, I have a question onto this subject coming in the maybe in the next 10-15 minutes. But I must acknowledge that, okay, both manufacturing and telecom, wherever now, whatever that we've actually spoken, we have understood the value of this is expectation of people, and we are actually changing ourselves so that we give a better maybe a workplace for the Gen Z and millennials. It's so which means the clear message is to study the expectations and manage it and then be making changes. I think that's a great takeaway on that. So by doing this, I'm sure now we are in a position to have a kind of a control onto the attrition part, because that's exactly where it actually goes to the next step. Most of the time the attrition is the biggest challenge, and most of the organizations actually do not understand the aspect to it. When we look at people as a people, we have a problem. So there is a famous Zig Ziglar quote, right? You don't build business, you build people, and people build business. And therefore, managing their expectations and getting to know the impact of attrition is very critical for an organization's business objectives. Visualize this. All of us are here. In next, maybe I think in some of the organizations by now we would have actually started for the business planning for the next financial year, and we would have actually started talking about impact of the attrition. Maybe this question is to actually Debarga and Urfi. Maybe first let me actually take it up with Debarga. Debarga, I have an interesting picture to showcase. Okay. From there, I actually want you to actually talk about it. There's a very, I'm just going to share this. Yeah. So this is actually, I just want to give a very simple example. Let's say that, okay, somebody is cycling and all these rivets are important for the cycling to go faster, make it highly productive. One rivet loss, you do not know what impact it can make and how it is. It can have a cascade impact on the brake and it is going to fall down. It can have anything aspect. So I want your comment on to this. What
Right.
is because the cost of attrition? Yeah.
See, now this picture clearly says that a loosely fitted loosely
Yeah.
fitted rivet. So there
Mm.
are two, what if I have to interpret just the picture, there are two sides to it. And if I have to compare attrition, there would be a wrong fit of that rivet in that chain, or there could be a loosely fitting rivet. There are both the sides, and it has got issues from both the sides. Now, attrition uh, is definitely a worrisome matter, be it a telecom, be it sales, be it manufacturing, because we, as an HR, our purpose is to take in people who can fill up a position and work. Our purpose is not to keep positions vacant. So the basic purpose of an HR gets defeated when attrition happens. And then there are, we try and find multiple reasons of why, what, how, when, why it happened, this, that. But the basic purpose of, okay, we have a person to do a job, that person is not there, not doing the right job. This cycle is not going to move
So,
without that limit, right? So the cost of attrition is maybe the result that cycle would have produces by going from place A to place B, by having that operator in that machine, by having that salesperson in that headquarter, by having that connection guy in that telecom field, right? So various cost of attrition. And apart from whatever we have spent as an HR, we have spent some money on hiring him, sourcing him, some money on training him, our initial investments. So these are definitely cost of attrition, which unfortunately we are tracking as an HR, but it's not a cost of PNL. It is, I don't know, it's a big ask, but somehow someday cost of attrition should be a part of PNL to make the business leaders also sit together and analyze it. Now it's not just an HR, it will should not remain an HR dashboard to get published and just asking HR why attrition is 30%, why not it is not coming down. If this cost is booked in, if it's booked in some way or the other, though these are notional costs, these are not actually costs, but if it is booked, if we have ways to look at this cost, and we have ways to look at this cost, but we have ways to book this cost in the PNL and showcase that as into the management of this as a cost, then it will be the board of directors and the managers will start looking at it as an important element, not as just a matrix to track. But mathematics to track the line managers, the behavior of the line manager, the code, the way planning, everything can revolve around that. That how you planning your career growth, how you are handling your infant attrition, everything. It's a big ask. But I keep on fighting that okay, you have to look at attrition as a cost to business, not as just an HR matrix. So that is how I look at cost of attrition, and I'm very strongly, I keep on publishing my cost every quarter to my management. I keep on publishing my numbers. Fortunately, we have done initiatives which have been able to reduce it, but it still remains. And some bit of churning is positive. 5, 6%, 10% churning is positive if you can keep on reloading paper. But anything more than 15 is really worrisome. Anything around 30 is like your one third of your population is getting replaced every year. So that's something to be worried about. So That's my take on cost of attrition. And infant attrition is a bigger issue because infant attrition is not something which starts from the person days of joining. I have gone back to done root cause analysis of infant attrition and realized it is way back, starts from the day my recruiter starts talking to the people and explaining the job role. Our recruiters or our people during interview have told something about a job, and finally what he or she has to go and do the job is completely different, or even 20% different. There is a disconnect. And as an HR, it is always my responsibility not to missell a job, because I am the candidate is actually following my words to decide his career. If he gets into the wrong job, if he sees that it is not a right fitment, like the chain, that if that rivet is not fitted for that chain, then
Yeah.
it's a wrong fitment. That's another issue from an HR side. That guy will also leave very quickly. So clarity about the job, transparency about the job, expectations from the job. As I have just, I'll give you one small example. I've recently have gone through a job description which clearly which we've gone through many job descriptions. We all are HR people, we have seen, but this job description had a very nice segment that what will not work for this job. That if
Okay.
you are an introvert, this job is not for you. If you feel that you can make strategy but do not want to go and test those strategies in the market, this is not for you. There were 5 7 points which clearly define certain behaviors. If you have these behaviors, it will not work for you. So that was a very clear way of saying that okay, ये तो मैं नहीं कर सकता हूँ, so let me not apply. That was a brilliant way to put it in a job description. So having that kind of a clarities will also help you control better, give more clarity and control infant attritions, and in course reduce the cost.
No, no, thank you, Deb. I think you touched upon two critical items. Specifically, one, the cost of attrition, how it is actually impacting the organization and the set goals. Second, the infant attrition. Because these are the, in fact, with respect to attrition, if you ask any HR, these are the two things which we actually want. And you also actually touched upon a subtle way, three critical points. It's not that, okay, I actually want to have 100% retention. I'm okay because there is a need. There is a need. You actually say, subtly you have conveyed that particular point. Yes, there is a attrition is required, but not at the way degree it has to be. As you rightly pointed out today, the major challenge that is currently happening is gone were the days where the yearly attrition was say 10%. In fact, some of the industries are actually hovering around monthly 10% there. And that is actually a bigger impact. And when you actually multiply this into the opportunity lost or maybe a revenue lost because of the resource not being there, the cost of attrition is very high. Great insights, Dave. And you also touched upon, okay, how to actually control the infant attrition specifically by giving the job responsibility is clear, and you actually touched upon how the don't aspect of it, do's and don'ts, we actually focus on do's, but then the don't aspect of it is actually coming in. Great insights there. Now let's actually go to Urfi. The infant attrition, what they've actually spoke about, with large distribution workforce that you have, are people being communicated in appropriate way? Are you finding that as a challenge? Is it actually kind of evident in across the geographies? Because today you operated pan India, and the way how we want to take your insights, Urfi.
Yeah, so see, I'll add on to Devarga. I mean, he's talked about the cost of attrition. So to understand the cost of attrition, we need to focus on cause of attrition. Right, and Warren Beverages, majorly we are sitting here at corporate office. We are monitoring manufacturing as well as the distribution. So, and this is the today's what do you call the challenge. And see why organizations are seeing higher turnover. What I feel, so it is there where employees feel the lack of growth opportunities, right? And then the low engagement or poor support from the supervisor or the line managers. And then the one very big challenge and big this thing is the mismatch between the culture of the organization and the employees' values,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So, and what I feel, to retain these kind of people, we should have very transparent communication and then authentic and very genuine kind of leadership. I was hearing someone was saying that when we are hiring someone, their induction should be very, very proper and very thorough. We should tell each and every aspect of the particular job area and all, right? So at time it's happened that the recruitment team hires someone for some other location, and by the time of joining, there is a requirement at some other location. So if the candidate is not very much interested and what do you call the keen to going to that position, we should not send, because in terms of what happened, he will take the job, join that particular location, and then again looking for a job for his interest of area. Right. So these things will be should be very transparent. Then the career pathway, particularly here where we are dealing with the thousands of people, those who are into the market. So they should be given up skilling opportunities, right? Which TeamLease is also doing with their some online courses and all, right? And then we should be very flexible without losing the connection. I mean, I'm not saying we should be very flexible, but flexible in terms of focusing the organization requirement, and it should be matched with the individual growth, right? And then recognition is also very important at the workplace, where the person should be feel engaged. So these all things are there, and the cost of attrition is we generally see the tangible kind of thing. There are a lot of intangible things, right? When the person leaves, it is not only the money what we lose during the recruitment, training, and all. We lose that particular duration also, right?
Correct.
So we should be very focused on all those areas, yeah.
Just
So
maybe
just adding one
yeah,
small
Dev.
thing to what
Yeah.
Urvi said, and catching on to the your first question, that see, attrition is also linked, or losing interest, disengagement of a person is also linked to, at the beginning of the first 6 months, we should be able to show him the purpose of his job and
Yeah.
how his purpose is going to develop throughout his for next 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, or so. So this career pathing, or maybe a roadmap of his career, that if you do this, you will get this. You need to perform XYZ level, you will get this. So this equation has to be set very clearly on his mind, on his or her mind, so that they know their purpose of that job. So this will also give a very strong message to the people that, okay, if I am engaged with this organization, I will get this much. So there is a very easy equation for it in his mind. And that is an important thing to be established.
Yeah, yeah. So every individual should have at least 2 to 3 years of the timeline for his career growth. I mean, he should know. So where I'll be after 3 years, and it is
Yeah.
not only in the words or in the files and all. It should be actually implemented.
Communicated to him properly.
Yeah, communicated and implemented also. See, at times
Yes.
it's happened that we call the person and show him the career path and the growth path, and then as a manager, as a supervisor, they lost this thing. I mean, they did not call the gentleman even for a 6 month. So every quarter, every month, they should sit with that gentleman, with the person, give the feedback. If there is any areas of improvement, give them a proper feedback, work on it, give him a training opportunity and all, so that he can achieve what we have shown after 3 years or so.
Great points, Urfi. In fact, you were complimenting to what Dev was actually highlighting, and invest on the person, and then actually that
Correct.
actually controls the attrition. Not only that, but also in terms of the infant attrition part, setting the right expectations with them. Now, I'm just going to show you one picture, Urfi. In fact, what they've actually commented and highlighted. Now, from attrition, because one of the point even which Dev was actually highlighting, the ex- are we setting the right expectations? And this is a very common phenomena, right? In our day-to-day life. Okay, people come with the different expectations. Why do they come with the different expectations? Why? Where it actually went wrong? They've actually highlighted about it. Then what actually happens in the reality? If that is not articulated appropriately, the first itself we are going to have a challenge. So Is this a common challenge for productivity, Urfi? Your comments before I go to Ruchir.
Yeah, absolutely. If we are not able to manage his or her expectation, then definitely we will have a lot of challenge on the productivity front, right? So, like I already said, I already given this uh, to you all the viewers and the listener the so if we are not giving a clear expectation, suppose we have hired for some other areas or some other this thing, and we are putting the person to some other responsibility
Okay.
and roles, then definitely the productivity will be a challenge.
Yeah.
So clear goals will should be there, right? And equipping manager also to lead distribute teams effectively. If the managers are not able to, I mean, see, it's attrition is happened because of the law of the immediate boss only, right?
Yeah.
So they should be equipped with all these things.
Great, Ufi. I think you also indicated that okay, the managers play a vital role in terms of
Yeah,
actually setting the right
yeah,
expectations. While
yeah,
they've actually spoke about the pre-joining, which is actually the recruiter, what is do's and don'ts. Now we were
yeah,
actually touching the critical point, how a manager plays a major role in setting the right path, which actually going to help the employee to have the right career path. Anyhow, before getting on to the career path, I actually want to move to Ruchir because in a large workforce environment, productivity is a key challenge. And most of the time, we will actually have the resources, then we will get questioned that, okay, fine, they are actually not productive. Now, with your experience, Richard, are you also facing the similar situation? Is there anything that you would like to actually see that, say that, okay, this is something that has actually worked well for us, or maybe this should be the ideal way? Your insights, Richard.
Yeah, so I think there are two parts to productivity, what I see. One part is the basic foundational challenges, which is in productivity, which is as simple as attrition, absenteeism, attendance, etc. And hence, it's all about largely to say the workforce availability at first phase, because when we deal with huge number of people spread across geographies, spread across offices, I think the availability becomes a challenge at times, and hence in the new setups also with this hybrid ways of working, the new work designs that are getting transformed, workforce availability in terms of attrition, absenteeism, it's a foundational lever, I would say. The second challenge of productivity is slightly a next level, or which is more of a advanced levers, which is where the challenges keeps on coming, which the other co-panelists Urfi and Deepak also touched upon, which is the expectation of a role, and starts at the time when our first line sources touches the person, the clarity of jobs, the description of KRAs, the KPIs that the person needs to get managed, uh, and then it finally trickles it down to the overall environment that the company will be providing over the period of time. And hence the initial 30, 60, 90 days framework to make that kind of environment comfortable for the people becomes very, very important. Uh, the other piece is, I think, what the other people have already touched is upon management's ability to actually lead, coach the team for the people who are just joining the workforce. I think there are a lot of first-time managers in their organizations who have never led a team, or maybe who have never led a diverse or an inclusive kind of ways of working. And hence, for them to touch upon this kind of workforce who's coming from a very different mindset and expectations, and hence for an organization, it's a lot of investment opportunities there to deal and develop and grow the first time managers so that they can actually link into all these things. The third lever of a productivity challenge to solve is can be solved with respect to the data in place. I think most of the organizations now have very, very sophisticated tools which can actually give you a lot of insights about the sentiments, the pulse surveys, the emotional mood scores, driver scores, and can actually link it with respect to the attrition and absenteeism, and you can, and obviously the final outcome, which is the number of tasks or installations or number of visits that's what converted, or the ROI, which is the end metrics that we are trying to achieve in the metrics. And hence, with the combination of data and the combination of the emotional sentiments of people I think if the systems are integrated enough, I think that's the one way to solve that. We are also trying internally here with respect to data and with respect to the sentiments that we get keeps on getting. I think these are some of the levers. I think gone are those days where the organizations used to curb attrition. It's now been fully redefined into making safe environment, both physically and psychologically for the people. Attrition again, no more. It's a ways where we are just trying to curb attrition, or we are trying to give jobs to the people. It's more about building careers for the people. There were times that we've been the HR used to invest in processes, systems, etc., which we are continuing to do so as HR professionals. But I think the ways in thinking have got changed because now we are trying to deliver experiences. And we are nowhere trying to just only touch upon systems and process because your Gen Z, the millennials, they are thinking not fully on the side of an employee. They are also thinking from an aspect of a consumer. And hence you need to deliver experience rather than just by looking into output metrics at how I can redefine and retweak with slight ways of working. I think that's the shift that we are seeing. And hence if we collectively view from a productivity lens, there are multiple levers that we need to see to really arrest this productivity and optimize it further. That's largely how I think.
No, thank you, Ruchir. I think more than the first 3 points, the way you actually connected with the experience part actually makes a difference. And glad that, okay, organizations are actually investing into it. Because the employee experience, most of the organizations, yeah, oh, okay, fine, I've issued an offer letter, but I've actually made them onboarding. But then have we given the right experience to them? Because that's the first framework, first mindset the person is actually going to have when they're actually entering in the domain. And as Urfi highlighted, the infant attrition is directly proportional to the productivity because what people come and see in the first, maybe the first 15 days, 30 days, and that's where you actually connected the dots by 30, 60, 90 days. That's a great plan because most of the organizations actually take care of such programs. In fact, I can actually correlate some of the other CHROs when they were actually articulating about the management trainee as a program or the apprenticeship trainee as a program. A lot of people who come in over there actually stabilize in the organization for a very long time because they've been given enough time and given a career guidance path. Okay, what they will have to do, how they have an exposure. Because most of the time, the internal within the organization, you will have island approach. Oh, okay, this is my department. I know I will do only this. They will not understand the broad picture. The moment when an organization takes initiative, I think that's where the first is successful organization. The success is because of higher productivity. Higher productivity is because satisfied people. I think that was a great suggestion. Yeah, Kavita, I think you were having a point to actually speak about that.
Subbu, I think you touched upon one point very well about the apprenticeship, trainings or the management training, because there's one aspect as well that unfortunately is built up at the time of the education, time, because when a person is going through an MBA course or an engineering course, he believes once he comes out as an engineer, he's just going to be wearing an engineer's hat. But that path is a little slow, and it does not work like that. There has to be some hands-on working. This is what I have seen in the manufacturing sector. So when we have come out with our apprenticeship programs, and when we come out with our management trainee programs, we are able to align the expectations with what actually needs to be coming out. So this is a very good point that you have put up, Subbu.
In fact, the next picture that I was intending to show, I think you touched upon it, Kavita. I actually directly jump over there for a minute. This is exactly what we were actually talking about the problem. For a person, for an employee, there are multiple paths which are available, but he or she doesn't know which one to select. The programs like whatever that we actually highlighted about the management trainee is quite successful in every organization. It's only because there is a clear path set for this particular person. In fact, in most of the very growing organization, if you see the senior leaders have actually started their journey in their own organization as a management trainee. So then you can actually see how that organization is actually investing onto this program to understand and then actually move. So maybe you can actually, since you actually touched upon that kind of a program, Kavita, the only challenge that here I foresee is it's not that okay, every employee can be given this module. we know that, okay, we are handpicking certain people as a management trainee and giving them the path, and they are actually establishing. How this can be institutionalized for a normal employee who joins the organization without any expectations, but he's completely confused when he looks at, okay, what path that he has to choose. Maybe with their experience in manufacturing, do you have any other upskilling activities, how you actually handpick them and then move your insights, Kavita?
That's really interesting, Subbu. It's okay, we do handpick, but is this open for everybody? Is this open for all the employees? My answer would be yes. When you open up horizontal deploying, as well, it's not really just a vertical deployment of, upskilling, but there are so many other aspects. Uh, I'll just talk to you about, okay, we are into the manufacturing, but we have all the other departments as well. So there is a business development team as well, there is a logistics team as well, there is a purchase team as well, there is, so and so forth, like in all organizations. If somebody is in a purchase team and for some point in time he's understanding about negotiations and things like that, even getting into the finer points about the details about the technical aspects of what he's purchasing, just a visit to the vendor, just to sponsor certain exhibitions where all these vendors do come in. These are small steps for upskilling, understanding more about the product, what they have to purchase and things like that. So in our case, I think it's like an open field for anybody and everybody who wants to really up their bar, because it's something that today whatever I'm doing, tomorrow I want to do it slightly better than what I had been doing. It could be upskilling in just about the IT skills which can help you analyze your work better. So it's not limited to a structured format wherein just we are picking up a few handful of them and just going through months and months of training them for a future role. It's like an everyday increase in their capabilities, increase in their competencies, which we are rewarding, we are recognizing. And I think just adding on to their responsibilities and increasing their KPIs as they move forward. So that, they feel rewarded because of that, those little steps that they are taking. So I don't think HR should just focus on few handful. Let's look at the entire workforce in a totality. When you showed that first picture about that rivet going slow, or I
It's
don't
it's coming out.
coming out. For me, it's not just about the chain. For me, it's the entire cycle which just breaks down because it
True, true.
it loses on your basic morale. It loses on so many other aspects. So the cost of attrition, as Urfi also said, it's not tangible all the time. There is an intangible cost to it as well. So upskilling, reskilling, I believe people come, when they come for work, everybody wants to make a difference. Everybody wants to contribute. We just need to pick up on those people. It becomes a little difficult, but that's what we are here for, are we not?
No, superb. You actually correlated with the first example, Kavita. In simple terms, what I can actually understand at a layman level is more prepare, more rivets. Actually goes down, you actually have a substitution. The rivets can actually get onto a larger chain at a later stage. And finally, the end productivity. You want to achieve a specific target by in a cycling. Okay, you want to go there. I think it's a great example, Kavita. Thanks for sharing this. Now, on the same part, I actually want to pick it up with Dev. Specific to the similar kind of a thing, when again, like the way how I actually push into Richard, when people are scattered and when their actually productivity is actually being reported. Okay, it's not, you do not know how it is actually going to have an impact because you are not actually nearer to them. There is no, maybe at times we don't have the HR people nearer to those locations, but we measure them against the output, what they have actually delivered. But is there a significance, importance going in over there for, okay, what kind of an input factor is going in over there? For example, a field sales distribute guy actually goes to a distributor. Do we measure what he actually speaks, or we just report, okay, this guy has actually placed so much of order? How he is actually approaching. So, what is your take, or maybe what is your recommendation or suggestions from the FMCG part, specifically on the upskilling part? Because that is one area where a lot of people actually remain at that level, and then they at times they actually move to a different organization to try to take it up. Within the organization, how do you actually take this up there?
In a sales scenario or any other scenario, specifically in sales, if we are talking, there are always two mentions, two matrices. One is the performance and one is the potential. So performance is something which we go by the results that they produce. And in sales, the way of producing result, how to arrive at result, that result is very regimented. You have to do X, Y, Z plus thing, you will get this. Right? Because you are handling a big force, you are all placed remotely. You cannot let them be very creative in their ways of selling. You have to kind of regiment it in a particular guideline. Within that guideline, they can like it's a freedom within framework. So you have to give them freedom, but you have to give them a framework also in which they have to work. So uh, so that will lead to a particular performance which is very numerically available to everybody. The other tricky part is the potential, which actually decides the person's upward movement or horizontal movement, whether he is able to take up multiple jobs, whether he is able to take up multi-skilling activities, whether he is able to do certain XYZ thing. So that potential is, there are tools available to judge potential. There are supervisors available to tell us about the potentials. We mix both. We mix modern available psychometric tools also to judge a potential. We we use communication forums. We discuss about with the supervisors about the potential. We have processes where we have institutionalized that a supervisor has to rate their team members at least ready for promotion now, ready for promotion next year, ready for promotion next year. 3 साल के promotion list उसको बना के दिमाग में रखना पड़ता है कि this could be my potential leaders. So identification of those potential leaders as potential people, training them to become the future leaders. We cannot expect them to lead without training. If I have to talk of internally, we have to keep on communicating them and training them to become future leaders, first time managers, strategic managers, frontline managers. So they have to keep on getting those trainings, exhibiting, giving them small tasks, make them part of certain strategic activities or key activities, and see whether they're living up to that potential or not. And then you mix the performance with the potential, and if they are at the top right corner, that both are high, you kind of decide on that upward movement. So that is one best way to look at upskillings. And to do that upward movement, you have to do a lot of upskillings of these people, right? And just to add what Kavita ji was also saying, that see, career path is always a two-way path. It cannot be organization is thinking about your career path, but you're not thinking. You have to showcase certain elements in your career that you are ready to learn, you are adaptable, you are flexible, you are open to take transfers, you are ready to take extra responsibilities, you are ready to stretch yourself. All these things coming together is an indication of that I am ready to do XYZ things and take me on that career path. So it's always a two-way path. Most organizations have very structured career path. They would all HR and L&D professionals will like to build that career path for the team. But the indicators that somebody wants to take the journey has to come from the individual. So it is always a two-way path, I feel so.
No, thank you, Dave. I think you touched upon one critical component of the potential part of it. In fact, I was actually talking to a small size organization HR head. There are about 150 people. And in fact, I always say this, we are all fortunate that okay, we are part of the top 4,000 organizations in the country. But whereas there are total of 6 lakh plus entities, which includes our MSMEs, etc., even a channel partner, distributor, everybody is an organization, but for themselves. The key component for them is they were not in a position to actually do an assessment in terms of the potential. They were not clear, okay, how to actually get that potential seam down. In fact, some of the message from this such a webinar is that, okay, what all practices that we do, they actually try to practice it in their environment, in their organization. And that is the key takeaway for all those HR leaders of the small organization who are listening to it and who will be watching it here. Now, this potential part is so critical. When it is actually mapped, you understand, and even if there is a performance failure, it might be a temporary, but the potential is actually permanent. That's a great insight, Dave. Today, when we are actually saying that okay, the workforce is shifting, everybody is actually tech savvy. Today, the a 10-year-old kid is more tech savvy than all of us. Okay, whatever we are doing, they know clearly in and out. Okay, whatever that you do, they will come out of it. Okay. Now, when somebody is experiencing so much of tech in their life, okay, as a consumer or an end user, specifically when an employee is actually joining our organization, if our applications are actually not tech friendly, okay, what are the efforts that we are actually taking so that it gives the right employee experience? Second, with the kind of data that are there overall for us in front of us, how we actually make better use of it for our futuristic workforce shift and changes that are going to happen. Maybe each one of you can actually contribute for a couple of minutes and say your top line onto it. Maybe Ruchir?
Yeah, so I think great question. First of all, because as the gears are shifting in the workforce, data is a new oil, and hence the utilization, understanding and the utilization of data becomes even more important. Uh, uh, I think with the complexity of data and the human sentiments, it's slightly become even more trickier than earlier. Because at one point in time, you have your one-on-one connects, you have your FGDs, you have the emotional sentiments coming into picture. And hence, the other part of it, you will have some data in place which will be capturing some of those human sentiments and will give you, in terms of number, maybe an engagement score or a mood score or some of the driver scores that you want to really shift gears and navigate your business line in that direction. And hence, to marry those 2 points, which is the motivation, experiences of the people, along with the data sets of sentiments and pulse surveys, I think organizations that are able to do better, and with this AI and chatbots getting integrated into the workforce and frequent question of taking continuous feedbacks and then pulling it across in form of the full exclusive dashboards and giving it a view. I think if the business starts getting receptive towards that kind of model, and it finally percolates down to the my last mile people manager, that hey XYZ, this is something coming out from your team. You need to be slightly change your leadership style from authoritarian to a democratic ways of working, or some kind of very simple levers, or a lever that we HR practitioners usually have, which is kind of NLP model, which is new leadership assessments, etc., etc. I think that's where the key will start shifting towards the workforce. And I think that's the need of an hour, because at the end of the day, while we can create an environment, it's my line manager or people managers who will have to act as a HR professional as well to actually deliver business for us. Right. So I think that's how I look into this.
No, true, Richard. I think the point of okay, that every manager act as a HR professional is very true and required, and it's a need of the hour. Because I always tell this to everybody: all of us are byproduct of HR. At one point of time, you actually play this role. If you are a manager and you play a major role as a HR head for your team. So great, Richard. Maybe Urfi, you would like to actually touch upon points on this?
Yeah, see, so it is now the organization, I mean, it's a data driven. Okay, so if we want to build a connected people data ecosystem, and which will reflect like if we take about HRIS, then the recruitment, LMS, performance system, collaboration tools, and all like teams where you want to work on the particular individual, surveys, sentiment analytics. So these all help not only to manager but also to the HR professional to work on it, right? And I would like to add the which Ruchir was talking about first time managers. So how we can train them. So what we generally do, I mean, every year we have a training program for first time managers, because every year people are going to be promoted or elevated, right? So they need to understand certain things, because in the previous role, they were not handling a large number of people and all. They were working on a lines or as a supervisor or so. So when they are on assistant manager or so, so that training program really helps. Second, I would also like to add on the infant attrition. So I have seen the buddy system, the organization which have introduced the buddy system. Buddy system is what we generally hand over that particular person to a very positive guy, performance wise, behavior wise, who always see in every organization there are a people who talks about the organization. So that person should not get into connected with that kind of gentleman, right? So but while leaving that person, if we are able to get the exact and genuine feedback, and we use that data for our what do you call, the improvement and all, so these all will help.
Thank you, Urfi. I think the point that you actually highlighted about how the infant attrition is actually correlated over there actually makes a lot of actually correlation to it. I think that the tech part of it, the data part of it, the sentiment
Correct.
part the sentiment analysis. Usually, this happens in a large clients based servicing industry, but
Correct. But
obviously,
the
from a
small.
HR department, for our own employees, are we using the sentiment analysis? It's a great
Correct.
insight because these are all the data-driven insights, what actually comes in and what has to be utilized. Most of the
Yeah.
time, these are the things which actually goes unnoticed. It's like, okay, one more element, but it plays a critical element in terms of attention. It plays a critical in terms of their productivity and for their elevation in the future. Thank you, Urfi. Um, uh, Kavita, in manufacturing, would you like to comment anything on that of the tech part?
Yes, I mean, see, data analytics is a way to reach a diagnostic, right? So you must analyze, you must reach a diagnosis. But what Ruchir said was absolutely correct. Once you reach the diagnosis, you need to have a treatment line in place, right? And one treatment line is not, it does not work for all. So it's like how you're going to respond to be able to make a corrective course, corrective action, and that requires a lot of human touch, and that is why we are known as human resources, right? So I don't think we should in any way move out of the human part. I'm a big advocate of continuous utilization of the human part, even while even in the case of doctors, today they are relying so much more on um, the technical diagnosis and
Correct.
make the patient go through n number of tests which can actually harass them as well. I come from that era when the doctors would look at a patient while he would just enter the cabin, and then they would understand, okay, this is the, and this is the ailment and this is probably the right treatment. I believe HR should be a lot like that. Look at the face of a person and try to figure out what that person is going through. So analytics, use it as a catalyst for what you have to do, but don't let it be the end all and be all.
I think I really like the word of analyst as a catalyst. It's a rhythmic word, but it was very nice to actually hear that. Thank you, Kavita. Dave, any closing statements from your end before we just get on for a few minutes on the Q&A?
Sure, right. So this are the days when that these are something which we call a T-shaped competency, that you can be a specialist in a particular sales, supply chain, marketing, operations, but you also have to have other skill sets, which includes HR as an important. Every line manager, as Ruchir was saying, as Ofi was saying a while back, every line manager has to hold the responsibility of a bit of HR, a bit of marketing, a bit of system admin, a bit of IT, a bit of social security, everything. And that is like a T-shaped competencies. You are specialist at something, but you also know how to handle these things. That is how the teams, organizations in future or now will should grow. We should not have specialists only. We should have specialists who are also good at many other things. That is something I think we should build our workforce towards, and they can anchor the whole ecosystem together.
Thank you, Dave. I think that the T-shaped one that you actually said is a completely new for us, at least for me. So it was a kind of a additional aspect, and I'm sure.
So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, because I got excited about what Devarga just
Dave
spoke
was.
about. I had the opportunity to meet a CEO of a very big company in the US, and he asked me, he was about 80 years old. He was still called back to be the CEO. And he says, the prime question that you need to ask everybody is, do you want to go deep or do you want to go wide? So the T part is, the wide, because the wide is like you have to be looking into all aspects. Deep part is just, focusing only on the super specialization. So it's not going deep anymore. It's more of going wide.
No, that is an interesting insight. In fact, I resonate with one of the professor who actually highlighted this, and they said, okay, now this has actually been started in all the management courses. They've actually started actually teaching this because your technical expertise actually stays with you only for the first 7 years. After a point of time, your managerial and management skills will actually start coming out, and if that is not coming out, you get into the deep expertise on your subject domain. I think great insight, Kavita. I think this is it's a great way to actually end this conversation. In fact, I saw you actually commenting for some of the questions what the audience have actually asked for. Maybe we can actually pick up one question and we can actually highlight. Um, uh, is there a way to work on building potentials for employees, those fail to show potential or navigate their growth within the company while they have shown their loyalty and commitment with the organization? So, anybody would like to just pick up this particular point, specifically in terms of the showing the potential, how taking the potential and how do we navigate the growth within the company? Maybe Dave, if you actually would like to pick up. So okay, fine. The question goes like this: is there any way to work on building potentials for employees? Those fail to show the potential because these people do not know how to express and showcase the potential or navigate their growth with the company while they have shown their loyalty and commitment, which means sometimes somebody who is actually been a long timer, but their potential is not been explored or they are not in a position to express it out or
So
maybe showcase it. That's the
it's a
question.
very common dilemma in a legacy companies, right? And in some organization which has been there for almost 50 years, 100 years, it is there that the person has been with the organization, has grown with the organization, but has not grown in his position maybe. So there is a typical way. One very easy and good tool to check is that whether person has a learning agility. Do the person have a way, has some, we can do multiple tests to check learning agility. That is number one. Second, the easier one, which a common sense, common person can also take up is do a 2 by 2 matrix of skill and will. That if the person is skilled and is also willing, so that person can be given some sort of an investment and his skill part can be increased. Some person is willing but not skilled. There can be an investment. But there are some people who are not even skilled, not even willing. You do not invest on them to increase their potential because any potential increasement activity would need investment from management. So you break up your workforce in that way that remove all the non-willing and non-skilled cases. Able and unable are another matrix. Skill will is another matrix. Those who are not even skilled, not even willing to improve their skills, you don't invest on them. You kind of make it a positive attrition from your organization. But those who are willing but not having the skills, you invest. Those who are having the skill but not will, you counsel them. भाई तेरे को तो आता है तो क्यों नहीं कर रहा है? You can do counseling with them. And another part who are the top of the tops who are skilled and willed, you take them under to the career progression path, fast trackers. So this is how you divide, and you don't do one thing for everybody. You divide your workforce accordingly and plan.
Thank you, Dave. I think the way you articulated, I'm sure the person who was asked this question was able to actually take it up for his actually implementation in his organization or her organization. Thank you so much. I think thanks to Kavita for actually, while we were actually having the conversation, she actually replied to most of the comments, most of the questions, whoever's actually put it in the chat. Thanks, Kavita. Thanks for and such things when people actually watch this at a later stage as well, they actually try to get the pointers. In fact, while apologies for 5 minute extension, 5 to 6 minutes, but the way it has actually come in was very engaging and encouraging. Thanks for all the insights that has actually come in. I know this each and every topic is a C-depth topic. You talk about attrition, we can actually speak for 2 days. You talk about productivity, we can actually speak for some months as well. But whatever in the limited time and what we want to convey, I think we have actually conveyed. All the insights were great. Thanks for sharing your experiences and the insights that has come in. I think the audience and people who are listening to this will be actually more getting a lot of takeaways for them. Thank you so much, Kavita, Ruchir, Urfi, Dev. Look forward to host you in
you.
upcoming the future sessions.